Welcome back, squad. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Full Ride, the College Recruiting and Athletic Scholarship Podcast, powered by URECRUITU. This is your coach, Kito Delgado, and it is August 1st, or at least when this episode is released, it's going to be August 1st. Of course, you may be listening to this well beyond August 1st, but either way, we are smack dab headed towards the end of summer. So I really hope that you families have taken advantage of the extra time you have to really jumpstart and turbocharge your recruiting efforts. I hope you're reaching out to coaches, making connections, going to the right camps, the right showcases, playing in the right tournaments that are really going to help you get on the radar of these college coaches. And today I have a really special guest who is a former Division I football player, Daymond Patterson. He played wide receiver, returned punts for the Kansas Jayhawks. And my man drops knowledge all episode long. So we're going to get to him in a couple of minutes. But real quick, I wanted to bring your attention to a unique offering that we have for families. Right. So I'll tell you a quick story. When I first went to college, my freshman year, all the freshmen were required to take study hall. And study hall was essentially, let's just say, 3 days a week, an hour long, where after practice, we got to go back, shower, eat dinner and stuff. But then we had to go back to the resource center, and we had to bring our work, and we had to study. We had to complete assignments, do projects. And the cool thing is we had actually, it was never just one of us. We had, usually 15, 20 of us all there together. And we also had some upperclassmen, right? Upperclassmen who may have fallen behind in their studies. They were there as well. But primarily, study hall was really in place to help incoming freshmen adjust to the college life because there are a lot of demands with your time. The coursework may be a little bit more challenging than you're accustomed to. It's your first time being away from home. And then just wanted to make sure you got off on the right foot. And then after your freshman year, if you had a certain GPA and you show that you can handle the workload on your own, well, then you were no longer needed, or you were no longer required to go to study hall, right? So with all that said, we are launching a program. We already have families enrolled in it, quite frankly. But study hall at URECRUITU allows our families to take that same approach, right? Maybe you're just starting. Maybe you're quote unquote a freshman in the recruiting world. Or even if your family, you're a junior and you really want to jumpstart that process, you need some guidance, need some help. Well, we want to make sure you get off on the right foot. So we have this program where you are allowed to submit up to 5 questions, right? Any 5 recruiting questions you want to ask per month to me. And then my commitment to you is I will respond to your email via video message, and I will attach any supporting document that may be necessary within 2 business days. So you submit it on Wednesday. By Friday, you're going to have your answer right for you in your inbox, right? Because here's the thing that I'm starting to see, or I have seen for a long time with Facebook and all this stuff, is families are going to one another and trying to ask all these helps. And I'm all for assistance. And what do you do? And what do you do? And I'm all for community. I'm all for not trying to go about it by yourself. But let me tell you something. And Daymond's going to talk about it in a little bit. Every recruiting journey is different, right? And it's based off of your goals. It's based off of your grades, your sport, your position, your athletic ability. There's so many variables, and too many families are getting generalized advice, and where you need specific advice. Right? General is okay in certain situations. When you're talking about core GPAs, okay, that's general information. That applies to all recruits. But I'm sorry, the process is different for a soccer player than it is for a baseball player. It's different for a football player than it is for a swimmer. And too many families aren't understanding that, and they're turning to other parents or who are either going through the process or maybe their kid went through it, but in a totally different sport. So study hall is really there to allow you to get answers to your questions, and it takes out the guesswork. Oh, and I did forget to mention, not only do you get to submit 5 questions, you also get one scheduled 15-minute call per month with me. And on that call, we're going to drill down on one particular area. We're going to give you a clear next step, clear next action plan that's going to propel you to build momentum and maintain it. So 5 questions via email, answer within 2 days via video message, and you get one 15-minute call from me every month scheduled. The cost today, for now, it is going to go up because of demand. I'm telling you right now, I'm just being very straightforward with you. It's only $75 per month. $75 per month. And just like I did it in college, where after a while, I got my GPA to a point, I didn't need to go to study hall anymore. I got what I needed. I could stop going to study hall. The same thing applies here. You work with me for 3, 4, 5, 6 months. You get where you need to go. You accomplish your goals. You feel comfortable. You can stop at any time. It's a month-to-month payment. Simple as that. But if you want to stay for a year, maybe you're going into your junior year, you want to use me for the entire year, you lock it in for $75 a month. That's less than $1,000 a year. Be well less than $1,000 per year. Right? So just want to make sure we are able to provide you with an affordable solution that's going to allow you to get the coaching that you need, because that's what I don't understand sometimes, and I'm not banging on my parents, but you would pay for a tutor. You'll pay for a tutor, which you certainly should if your son or daughter needs help with their SAT or if they need help with their GPA. I belong to a Facebook group, and I see parents are paying anywhere from $3,000 to $7,000 a year on their travel club team. They pay hundreds of dollars a month for a personal trainer, which again, this is great. You should be doing all that if your son or daughter needs the support. But then when it comes to college recruiting, you don't make any investment when it comes to hiring a coach and getting that expert advice. You don't want good advice when it comes to this, because you only get one shot, right? And not only do you want to, get offers, but you also want to get offers from schools that you actually want to attend. An offer is not good if you have zero interest in going to that school. So make the investment. I tell families all the time, you're either going to pay now or you're going to pay later. And if you sign up for a year-long plan, you're going to pay something less than $1,000. You're going to lock it in $75 a month, and you're going to get expert advice each and every time you submit a question. And I'll be honest, the 15-minute calls, a lot of times, they go beyond 15 minutes because we may get in the middle of it, and I'm not going to just cut it off because, the buzzer goes off. That's not my style. So give us a shot. The link is in the show notes. There is a 7-day free trial, by the way. So 7-day free trial. You sign up. Your credit card won't be charged until the 8th day. So try it out for 7 days. You don't like it, you cancel. No problem. You have nothing to lose. But that's all I have today. I just wanted to get that out there. I do want to get to Daymond because he really dropped some great game for you guys. And without further ado, here is my interview with Daymond, my man. How we doing today?
I'm doing great. How about you, sir?
I can't complain. Just as I was telling you before, is doing some helping my brother-in-law out with some construction around the house. So I'm a little tired, but never too tired to be able to share some game with our families. So I want to take a few moments to introduce yourself to our listeners, and we'll then we'll take it from there.
No problem. My name is Daymond Patterson II. Grew up in Mesquite, Texas. Originally born in Topeka, Kansas. Stayed there for about 2.5 years. Moved right before my 3rd birthday and been down here ever since. Played football at North Mesquite High School. First team All-State guy at kickoff punt return as well as a wide receiver. And then after that, went off and played football at the University of Kansas for 5 years for 3 different head coaches, Mark Mangino, Turner Gill, Charlie Weiss. And then after that, came back home, did a lot of great things at the University of Kansas, played offense, defense, special teams all 5 years. Got to meet some cool people, got to, showcase my talent up there before getting injured my senior year and tearing my groin. But, man, it's led me to a great place where I'm at right now from learning all the things I did there and being able to, take that network, some of the things I learned, the adversity that I fought through, and be able to build something great called the Raw Power Team that we'll talk about eventually on the show. So, yeah, that's a little bit about me. Been back and forth between Texas and Kansas for the last several years now.
That's awesome. And I think there are 2 points I really think that you touched on that we can drill down a little bit more. One, you mentioned 3 different head coaches in college. Matter of fact,
Yeah.
I had 3 head coaches in college, one at Boston University. And then when I transferred to Northeastern, I had 2 there. So I got that in common with you. But then the second one was you had an injury your senior year. So we're going to talk about the injury in a little bit. But before we get to that, I often share with parents and athletes, and they at first look at me cross-eyed when I say it, not to place too big of a stock on the college coach when determining what school you want to attend. Because I often say they tend to leave, and then what? So can you touch on how it was like to play with 3 different coaches, and why you were still happy at Kansas despite having 3 different coaches along the way?
Oh, yeah, like you said, so when looking into recruiting, you want to look at the coach, see what they've done, their past. But then outside of that, you also got to look more so at the scheme that school is running, what conference they're in, depending on if I'm a scat back, I'd rather play probably in the Big 12 where I'm going to catch passes more than the SEC where they're running straight downhill. Then also outside of that, you want to look at the depth chart. Hey, these guys got 3 dudes that ran for over 600 yards last year, and they were all freshmen or redshirt freshmen. I probably don't want to go to that school because I might be sitting for, a while. I might want to go to a school where they might have an elite running back who might be that guy. But shoot, he's going to be a senior when I get there. If I redshirt, I won't miss any time because he'll be gone, and then I'll have a chance to fight for 4 years of playing time. So those are a lot of different things. You want to look at the coach, the academics, see if they got your major. Look at the depth chart. Look at, what conference they're in. What are they known to do? Regardless if the head coaches change, there's some schools, Texas Tech is going to be Texas Tech for the most part. Regardless who's coaching there, they're probably going to keep that same philosophy and go out there at that air raid offense. So that's also, just those little things that parents don't know. This coach is amazing, but yeah, they offered your son, but that's not really the guys that you see mostly on the field under that head coach. You see bigger guys, and your son's a great athlete, so they want to get him on the field, but when you look at it, it's usually the 6'4" wide receiver playing at that school instead of the 5'8", 5'9", 5'10" guy. So just a lot of different things that comes down to, recruiting, how far it is away from you, your son or daughter. Are they going to be one to come home every other weekend and stuff like that? So a lot goes into that recruiting.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of, I always teach families, there are a ton of factors. I'm not saying neglect or ignore the coach completely, but the reality though is this: unless you're maybe like a Nick Saban or a Coach K for basketball, Gino Auriemma at UConn, for the most part, at any given time, these coaches can switch institutions. That goes for your position coaches as well. The head coach may stay, but maybe the position coach leaves. So you definitely want to, evaluate the coaches, but at the same time, that was just you got 2 people right here who play combined. In our time in college, we played for 6 different head coaches. So that's just the reality you guys got to really pay attention to. So I'm glad you shared that. The second part that you touched on, and then we're going to get back to, like, your whole process of getting recruited, which is probably cool because we all have a unique recruiting story, if you will. Talk about injuries. I always, again, tell families, our athletes in particular, you got to control what you can control. At the end of the
Exactly.
day, injuries are part of the game. You can't always control, if you get hurt or not, but you can control how you respond to being injured. So clearly, you had a setback your senior year. Can you talk about how you were still able to be, engaged with the team, and some of the lessons you just learned about, fighting through that injury?
Yeah. First of all, like when the injury hit, it was my first senior year. I didn't redshirt when I went into college, so it was my first of two basically senior years, and had a fifth round draft grade. Everything was on the up and up. Preseason Blitnikoff. For those of you who don't know, the Blitnikoff Award goes to the top wide receiver in the nation. So I'm on the preseason watch list and this and that. Very excited about what's moving forward. Go out there the first game. First quarter, score a touchdown. I'm doing good. I'm ready to go. All of a sudden, get back out there on the field, catch a little screen pass, make the defender miss, don't even get touched. Foot slides out under me a little bit. I take about two more steps before it hits me, and I go down. I tore my groin. Didn't get touched. I'm out for the season. Obviously, it was hard being a guy that had hope and knew that I had NFL talent. And not only me thinking that, but different agents, this and that, everything was like, hey, yeah, that's leading you there. So that hurt. And I didn't really take any time to sit back and pout. I tried to fight to see if I could come back for that season because like I said, I'm ready to go. After weeks of trying to come back, I had to decide to shut it down for the year and rehab and get back to where I needed to be. After a lot of rehab just to be able to walk again, I started trying to, do things very slowly in practice, jogging, core stuff, and all that. And once I started moving again, got out there, went full steam ahead on the scout team as hard as I could, trying to win awards, trying to be the best player on the field, regardless if I was on scout team or not, because I knew I was trying to get myself back into shape and able to get back to where I was before the injury. So I looked at it, as something that was just going to help me in the long run, another year to prepare mentally, try and get back physically where I was, and then move past it. But I never looked down upon, the opportunity that I was given to go out there and try and progress on the scout team. You got to change everything into a positive and not see it as, oh, woe is me, as a lot of people would say. I just saw it as something that could definitely help me in the long run and move forward. So I took every day as another blessing, because it could have been worse where I didn't even get to get back out there and practice again. So I just took it day by day and went out there to get better.
And that's just a great, that just shows a level of maturity. And again, we're going to get to the recruiting, but, a big part of playing that, college athletics is, having that maturity, having that, being able to overcome adversity. So I really wanted you to share that because, again, playing for three different head coaches in college, that's overcoming adversity. Getting hurt your senior year when you are, you got everything kind of going, in your favor, and you got to rehab, that's overcoming adversity, digging deep. So I just love that you share that. So let's now though go back to, when you were in high school. You obviously had a great opportunity to play, some big time D1 football. Are there any, I want to say, regrets, but are there any lessons that you learned along the way through the recruiting process that you want to share with our families to make sure that, maybe they're not, a highly touted recruit, and you want to try to help them, become recruited athletes? Any words of advice, encouragement, or tips you want to share with them?
Yeah, the biggest thing is I got a couple of good ones, and they're straight to the point, and it really covers everybody. Doesn't matter what your kid has done compared to another kid across town. Nobody's recruitment is the same. Parents too many times says, hey, my son's 6'1", he had 800 yards receiving. That other kid that just got offered from Notre Dame is 6'1", and he only had 600 yards receiving. Why did he get off? You cannot compare your son or daughter to anybody else's recruitment. You don't know what they did at maybe one camp. You don't know who they know. You don't know why the reason sometimes why one kid is offered over another. So that helps our parents, and they're still going to do it. But if you can ever wrap your mind to stop comparing your kids to other kids, it'll help you out in recruiting for yourself and your kids' sake. Because there's going to be kids that you're like, man, my son did exactly that. My son did exactly this. You don't know if, granddad was one of the KU greats, right? So that's a family, tree. We're gonna bring that kid in. I played with granddad when I was a player, and now I'm a coach, and that was my best friend. I'm bringing him in, and the kid's also good. It's not like he's some slouch. He probably deserves to be here. Your son might be a little bit better, but we know how that goes. Also getting out, doing camps, and doing different things, not just going to any camp. If you've gotten handwritten letters from Ohio State and Texas, don't go run into the first Oklahoma camp and they haven't said anything to you because Oklahoma is your favorite school. Go to Ohio State and Texas because they're showing you true interest. That's what I think a lot of parents and kids do wrong. They go to all these schools that never even wrote them before, and you're donating money at these camps. Go to the camp that are showing you interest. No different in life. If you're a boy and you like a girl, she can't be your girlfriend if she doesn't like you. You got to have a girlfriend that likes you. You don't just get to go say, hey, Ohio State, I really like your school. I'm coming to your school on scholarship. That's what I tell them. Vice versa, just like I tell the girls. You can't say, hey, you know what? I know you don't like me, but you're my boyfriend. That doesn't work. You got to go with somebody that likes you. It's the same thing in recruiting. If a school likes you and they want you, you go there. Now, if another school comes along the way and it's a better opportunity for you, that's a different story. But you have to go and show the schools that are showing you love that, so they can, if they have not pulled that trigger on you, pull that trigger and they can offer you because they're actually interested in you. That's why they're taking time not to give you the copy that they ran off literally 5,000 times and just send it to a database of kids. They're taking the time out of their day to handwrite you, text you, hit you up on Twitter or whatever. You need to see what these coaches are talking about and see what they're trying to offer as far as your son or daughter comes to that school to play, and actually go check out those schools and not saying, well, my favorite team when I was growing up or their favorite team. It doesn't matter who's your favorite or whatever. It matters about what schools are interested in you and you're their favorite player. That's what matters. Not your favorite school. Are you that school's favorite player or one of the top players that they want?
I love that answer. And what I'll just add a little bit because one thing I do actually share with families is definitely, you got to be, number one, be realistic with your expectations. Yeah. That is something that's really important. But you also have to take control. You have to be proactive. So I will say this. Yes, if you got certain schools that are showing you all this interest, well, then you need to, maybe evaluate and start giving them a hard look. If there are other schools, though, that you may want to go to learn more about, get on their radar. All I would say is I agree wholeheartedly with what you're saying, but I would say perhaps don't just show up to their camp. If you're going to show up to the camp, make sure that you write to them prior to going to the camp, or you call them, you just connect, let them know, hey, I see you got a camp going on. I'm interested in attending. I'm going to be there. And then while you're there, you show out. And then when you leave, you follow up and say, hey, I was there. But, so it is that give and take because sometimes the school just doesn't know you exist. So if there is a strong interest in you learning more about them, fine. But now once you reach out, I'll say this, once you reach out a couple of times and they ain't getting back to you, they're not showing any interest, that's when you need to really, okay, let me move on and let me reevaluate my situation. But I do like what you're saying. Like, go to the right camps is the overall message, though. Because otherwise you're going to waste a lot of time. You're going to waste a lot of money. And like you said, I love it. Otherwise you're going to be donating because they'll all take a check. Exactly. None of them will turn you down. Every single one of these schools are not going to say, oh, no, don't come to our camp. Even if they have no interest in you, they will take your money because that's how they obviously fund their athletic program. So that's just real talk. So I do like that for sure. No
That's a
doubt.
great add-on. Like I said, that's definitely great. Like I said, that's if you want to reach out, and with Twitter being so accessible, those coaches are checking their DMs by the minute because they know that's where all the athletes are. And some of these athletes, they're going back and forth with athletes that they like on Twitter. So
Oh,
it's easy to
absolutely.
literally any coach in college football, probably college sports now. Every last one of them has a Twitter. You DM them, they don't answer for a week. You DM them again, they don't answer. It's more than likely they're not interested because they saw your stuff. You're probably
Yep.
going to see red in the time. And that's the thing. If they're doing that, don't travel 7 hours on the road to spend $50 to travel 7 hours back, and then they didn't know you. So, no, definitely, if you reach out, and like I said, if you're good enough and you reach out and you let them know, they'll be like, yes, come on up. They're
Yep.
not going to, tell you that you're a good athlete and turn you away unless you have what I would say somebody with prior knowledge. For instance, myself, I train a lot of athletes. I was highly recruited, so I know a lot of head coaches, position coaches, as well as me being removed from college for 5, 6 years now almost. A lot of my friends that are coaching, went into coaching, are now becoming, position coaches. So I have the ability to literally say, hey, man, I got this kid. He's interested in your school. Should he come to your camp? And they will flat out tell me, coach, we would love to have him up here. He's a player. We're going to truly evaluate him if he gets up here. And I have other kids that are literally, I kid you not, they were number one in their position in the state of Texas. And I've asked schools that have won less than 4 or 5 games in a season, hey, I have this kid. He's the number one kid in his position in the state. He wants to come to your camp. And they'll simply say, hey, we know he's a monster. But the scheme we run, he just can't fit in it. Like, talent is good, but we just can't scheme for the way he plays. And they'll tell you that. So don't, once again, some of the coaches, if you have connections for the kids that out there do, know, hey, my trainer, my head coach, whatever. And like I said, especially your high school coach, if you come from a good high school, literally say, hey, coach, I'm interested in going to this camp. Is there any way you can reach out to the head coach, position coach, anybody, just to see if it'll be worth my time? Because it's not 5 minutes down the street. That's a 4 or 5 hour drive. So that's another route. If you can't get with them, ask your head coach. He can call you and be like, hey, man, they said you're just not on their radar. So you probably don't want to go there. Or they'll be like, hey, you know what? They just watched your huddle. They said they don't know how they miss over you. They want you there, this weekend. They want to really give you a hard look.
That's awesome. And again, that just goes to, doing your homework. We're really getting into the weeds with some of the stuff, families, but it is helpful too, because a lot of times I try to make sure my families, don't get discouraged. Sometimes, again, you can be the world's, a great athlete. And the reality though is coaches, they look at is, can you fit our scheme? Right. And that's just the reality. So it's not always just about talent. It is a scheme. And that's why we always talk about, spreading a wide net. You got to have a wide net of offers, because sometimes they may even be interested in you, but then somebody else, 2 other kids that they have slightly rated higher than you, commit to the school. Well, then there goes that position that they're recruiting you for. So, you just gotta, really just have an open mind, educate yourself. And then don't just get locked into only the schools that you love. But if you got some schools showing love to you, well, then you definitely better make sure that you at least at minimum, do your due diligence, get to know them a little bit more, and then make an educated decision. Maybe you say, you know what, I don't want to go here, but but thank you. But at least have an educated decision. Don't just say no because they don't play in a certain conference that you want to play in. So I love that. But speaking of which, so we're gonna get you out of here in a little bit, but I also want to, because you are somebody who, again, you are highly recruited, but then also now you work with a number of, obviously, athletes who play at that next level. You talk with coaches all the time as well. Just being that resource to them, between player and recruit. And then you also have sent some individuals off to, play in the NFL. So you are around high performing athletes, right? So can you just talk about, just forget recruiting for a minute, maybe we got that someone who's 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade. Can you just talk about, though, or share, what are some of the attributes of being just a high-performing athlete?
I think all the high-performing guys, and not even just saying NFL guys, I'm talking about at every level the best guys. Because, you might have one guy that's amazing in college, but he's not amazing in the NFL. He might be amazing in high school, but he's not amazing in college. And he might actually be good in college, but he's now great in the NFL. So it works either way. I would say the biggest thing is mindset. If you have a mindset that every day is work, every rep is a chance to get better, that, hey, I am elite, that I will do things to get better because since I know that I'm an elite guy or feel that I'm an elite guy, I'm going to take an elite mindset, and that's going to translate to my work ethic. That's going to translate to me doing the extra reps. That's going to translate to me eating right. It's going to translate to me drinking water. That's going to make me do my homework. That's going to make me not stay out till 3 o'clock the day, before the game. It's simply mindset. The best guys that I train, when they walk into the workout, they're ready to work out. And there's very good players that I train in college, high school, NFL, and they're not the best players, but you can tell by the way that they approach work. Like when they come in, you can tell that it's about to be a drag today. And the great ones, every day is the same thing. Focused, motivated, self-motivated. At that, I gotta scream at them to do more. All I gotta do is say go, and they're ready to get it. And that's what I see about the elite athletes. I've got 15-year-olds out there, and once coach says do this, they're doing that at the highest ability they have. They're not doing it because coach said jog on the field. I'm not, just doing the fastest thing, the fastest walk I can, and saying it's a jog. They're moving. They're taking the jog up almost to a sprint. Coach says, hey, we're going to run 80%. The best guy is going to run 90 because he wants to beat everybody else on the team because he knows he's the best guy. So that's what I see in the highest of the athletes at every level. And it's simple. And I think you see that in life. The people with the best mindset that are prepared every day usually perform the best.
I absolutely love that answer, man. You're like a man after my heart. And I promise you guys, we did not coordinate this, but I say this all the time to athletes. I tell them when I talk with teams, I'll tell them point blank, just because you're on a team, just because you play sports does not make you an athlete. Being an athlete is a mindset. Just because you're athletic, believe it or not, does not make you an athlete. Being an athlete is a mindset. And it all goes back to, like you just said, man, it's just the decision-making that you have. Everything is very deliberate. It's intentional. You don't have to get motivated, and you make good choices in the classroom, on and off the field. You just do a little bit more. You don't got to get, dragged to practice. And when you're at practice, you're locked in. So I love that answer. And again, this is somebody who was still is, obviously once an athlete, always an athlete, but you know what I mean? Like in your prime, you had a little bit more athleticism, but this is somebody who obviously at one point in his life was extremely athletic, is an athlete, but then also trains high performing athletes. So athletes, just take that for what it is, because that is some great information for sure. My man, we really appreciate you taking some time. Where can, because obviously you do some training. I know you have some, I think it's awesome. You have some virtual training that you do as well. So even for those who aren't in the Texas area, how can everybody find you on the Instagram and on, the web and Twitter, if they want to get to know you a little bit more and maybe utilize your services?
Yeah, definitely. If you want to find me on Instagram or Twitter, it's DP2Nice, DP the number 2 and then nice. If you want to find us at our website, it's therawpowerteam.com. If you want to get to train with us right now, we're doing our skill guys as far as wide receivers, DBs, And wide receivers, DBs, tight ends. It all falls under the two virtual trainers we have out right now. It's trptvirtualtrainer.com. That's with basically me teaching the same techniques, drills, concepts, terminology that I work with all my NFL guys. All that's recorded every month, every 30 days from when you sign up. You'll get a new set of content. And now that in the first 5 months, we were about 500 athletes in 30 countries. So it's something that a lot of people have taken advantage of. It's a good tool to use because it's on your phone. You can access it at any time. It's always there. And all you have to do is, lock into it. It's not even more about going out there and doing it all the time. You can go out there and take it with a friend. Mom can hold the phone for you, or, hey, Mom, look at this. Am I doing this? Or how he's saying it. Dad, your neighbor, your brother, your teammate. And also, say it's raining outside and you can't do it. It's just something good to be able to look at as far as, mental reps go. So when it is time to go, you can I've been watching the virtual trainer. Let me start working on that T-step or this kick slide technique. So it's everything that we're working on as far as the techniques and concepts that I work with my NFL guys.
And again, you can obviously find, Daymond on Instagram, DP, Too Nice. And then the website though, again, for the training is trptvirtualtrainer.com. And I'll put that in the show notes. I'll link it. So all you have to do, if you're listening to this on your mobile phone, in the show notes, just click the link and it'll bring you right there. But he has a lot of great content for you. And I always tell this to my families because some of them say, "Oh, we don't have the money. We don't have the, the means to have the personal trainer, coach one-on-one." I always tell them there's always that you can, or a resource out there that's affordable. We're talking some really great programs here, guys, for under $20 a month, most of them. So great opportunity for you to learn. Again, if you play football, you play wide receiver, defensive back, you need to be on this. I mean, invest in your future. We're talking these scholarships for many of these schools range from $30,000 to $45,000 a year. So paying $500, $600 a year on some training to get your game right, at the high end, by the way, is more. That's on the high end, exactly. That's. We're talking more closer to $300. So, I think it's well priced. I really want you guys to take advantage of this because not only also are you learning different, routes or different techniques, but it's also the terminology. I don't know if you guys caught some of the stuff that he just said. You're like, what's that? Yeah, he's going to actually teach you some terminology that they use at the next level to get you better. So this is, again, really for our football players. I really encourage you guys to check it out. Put that work in on the field. It's just those football's a game of inches. Little things like this are going to get you to that next level. My man, I really appreciate you taking the time. We always ask our guests, give our families, that winning play. What's something that they can do today? Often I always end every episode by saying, college recruitment starts with you. So I want you to give our families, what's that something simple that they can do today to help them with the recruiting process?
Something simple. Clean up your social media, especially my boy. Can't be on there saying whatever you want to, posting whatever you want to. You're a business, you're a brand. See what happens, especially nowadays when these brands and people at the top of them say certain things. You're fired. People boycott it. Coaches, colleges will boycott you for posting things that don't need to be online. Clean up your social media. Don't give them something else outside of your height, your speed, your abilities to put a negative mark on. You can do that easily. That's all in your control, what you post. You can't control how tall you are, but you can control when you hit that send button.